Have you ever had one of those days where you wake up and for no reason at all, everything just feels heavy? Like the sunlight outside the window is a little duller, the cup of tea doesn't taste quite right, and conversations feel like chores instead of comfort? If you have, you're not alone, though it can feel like it sometimes. As we get older, life changes in ways we don't always talk about. Friends we used to call every day slowly stop picking up the phone. The routines we loved shift or disappear altogether, and somewhere along the way, we start feeling invisible in a world that moves faster than we remember. It's like standing at the shore, watching waves roll in and out while nobody notices you're still standing there. Today, I want to have a heart-to-heart about something most people avoid: elder depression. It's a topic folks like to tiptoe around, dressing it up with words like just a phase or a bit of loneliness, as if naming it out loud might make it worse. But the truth is, not naming it makes it heavier. So let's name it, let's talk about it, and most importantly, let's remind ourselves that it's not a sign of weakness, and you don't have to face it alone. Depression in our later years often shows up quietly. It's not always dramatic or loud. It might be the loss of interest in the things you once loved, your morning walks tending to your plants, calling your cousin just to chat about nothing in particular. It might be sleeping too much or not enough. It might be eating for comfort or forgetting to eat altogether. And it almost always carries this nagging little voice that says, "This is just how life is now." But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be. You see, we live in a culture where people talk a lot about staying physically healthy after 60. Eat this, avoid that, walk 10,000 steps a day, drink more water than a camel in the desert. And while those things matter, what we don't hear enough about is how vital our emotional and mental health is in this chapter of life. Our minds carry decades of memories, joy, loss, love, grief, little victories, and big heartbreaks. And sometimes when life slows down, those memories get louder. We start to notice the empty chairs at the table. We remember birthdays no one celebrates anymore. And if no one's around to ask how you're really doing, it can start to feel like carrying an invisible weight on your shoulders. That's why today, I want to share some simple, gentle ways to start lifting that weight. Small things, not overwhelming changes. Just a few shifts in how we care for ourselves and how we let others care for us too. Let's begin with one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself: talk. I know it sounds too easy, right? But the act of saying out loud how you feel, even if it's just to a friend over tea or to a piece of paper in your handwriting, has the ability to pull those heavy thoughts out of the shadows. You don't have to have the perfect words. It doesn't have to be poetic. You just have to be honest. Maybe it's calling a grandchild and asking about their day. Maybe it's joining a community group, a prayer circle, or a book club. And if leaving the house isn't easy, maybe it's reaching out to a neighbor or finding an online community where you can chat about old movies, recipes, or the weather. The important thing is making sure your voice doesn't get trapped inside your own head, because that's where depression loves to hide. Next, let's talk about the power of routine. I know, the word routine can sound dull, but when everything else in life feels unpredictable or empty, a small daily ritual can be the anchor you didn't know you needed. It could be as simple as stepping outside every morning, even if it's just to feel the air on your face. Maybe it's watering your plants, listening to one old song you love, or writing down one thing you're grateful for, even if it's just a cup of warm tea. These tiny acts create a sense of purpose, and when your mind has something to look forward to, even a little thing, it starts to push back against the fog of depression. Think of it like lighting small candles in a dark room. Each act of self-care adds a little warmth, a little glow, until slowly you begin to see your own reflection again. And you know what else matters? Moving your body in whatever way you can. I'm not suggesting you go sign up for a marathon, but stretching your arms, walking to your balcony, or even doing gentle movements while sitting can release endorphins, those wonderful chemicals that tell your brain, "Hey, I feel a little better now." It's about reminding yourself that you are alive, that your body still belongs to you, and that it still holds strength, even if it creaks and groans a bit more these days. I know it's not easy. Some days it will feel impossible. Some days you might not want to get out of bed. And that's okay. What matters is that on those days, you remember you're not broken, you're not a burden. You're a person with a heart that's been through a lifetime of beautiful and difficult things, and you're still here. So, if this conversation is resonating with you, know that you're not alone in feeling this way, and you certainly don't have to keep it all bottled up. Life after 60 isn't about fading quietly into the background. It's about rediscovering yourself in small, meaningful ways. Let's keep this conversation going, because nobody talks about elder depression, but we will. Now, while it's one thing to talk about depression and acknowledge it, the next step, and maybe the trickiest, is learning how to gently shift our mindset when those dark clouds settle in. It isn't about pretending everything's fine or slapping on a forced smile. It's about finding small ways to remind yourself that life still holds little joys worth noticing, even on days when your heart feels heavy. One of the most beautiful and overlooked tools for this is gratitude. Now, I can already hear a few of you sighing, thinking, "Oh, not that gratitude stuff again." But hear me out. I'm not talking about writing long essays about how lucky you are. I mean noticing tiny, ordinary moments in your day that don't hurt. Maybe it's the sound of birds outside your window in the morning, the warmth of sunlight hitting your face, a cup of perfectly brewed tea, a memory that makes you smile instead of ache. When we train our minds to spot those small moments, we start reclaiming control over our emotions. Depression tells us everything is dark. Gratitude whispers, maybe not everything. And that whisper, my friend, can be louder than you think. It's a little like gardening. You plant one seed. You don't expect a full bloom tomorrow, but you tend to it, water it, and over time, the garden grows. Same with your mind. Find one thing, one single good thing in your day, and name it. You'll be surprised how those moments begin to multiply once you start paying attention. Another thing we rarely talk about, especially in our generation, is how much we hold inside. Many of us were raised to be tough, to keep a stiff upper lip, as they used to say, to not burden others with our worries. But let's be honest, that can be exhausting. Carrying unspoken grief, loneliness, regrets, and fears can weigh a person down in ways you don't even realize until you finally let some of it go. If you don't feel comfortable sharing with friends or family, that's okay. There are counselors who specialize in working with older adults, helplines you can call just to talk, and online communities where people your age share stories that might sound an awful lot like your own. You'd be surprised how comforting it can be to hear someone else say, "I've felt that way too." And speaking of feelings, let's talk about grief. Because whether we say it out loud or not, grief shapes so much of elder depression. It's not just about losing people we love. It's about losing routines, familiar places, physical abilities, even roles we held in life. Maybe you were the one everyone came to for advice. Maybe you were the caretaker, the one who kept the house lively and organized. And now, maybe those things feel like distant memories. That sense of loss, even if it's not tied to one specific event, can weigh you down. The important thing is to give yourself permission to grieve those changes, to acknowledge them without judgment. It's perfectly normal to miss parts of your younger years. It's okay to feel a pang of sadness when you can't do the things you used to. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. Now, one of the best ways to honor those feelings without letting them swallow you is to create new meaning in this chapter of your life. That might sound big and scary, but it doesn't have to be. New meaning can come from learning a new hobby, reconnecting with a childhood passion, or volunteering for a cause you care about. It might be as simple as adopting a stray cat who starts to follow you around, or baking cookies for the neighbor kids who remind you of your own grandchildren. The key is finding something, anything, that makes you feel useful, curious, or just plain content, even for a few moments. Those moments matter more than you know. And let's not forget the healing power of nature. Even if your knees aren't what they used to be and long walks are out of the question, sitting outside with your face turned toward the sun, listening to the rustle of leaves or the distant bark of a dog can shift your mood in small, important ways. The outdoors has a way of reminding us that life continues in all its simple beauty, whether we're paying attention or not. Some days you might not want to step outside, and that's okay too. Open a window, water your plants, watch the clouds. Even those tiny connections to the world around you help pull you out of your head and back into the present moment. And before you shrug that off, thinking it sounds too simple to make a difference, remember, depression doesn't usually lift with one grand gesture. It softens through hundreds of small, quiet moments. A warm cup of tea, a familiar song, the scent of rain, a silly dog video someone sends you. One little thing at a time. We spend so much of our lives being responsible for others, children, spouses, careers, homes. And as those responsibilities lessen, it can feel like we've lost our purpose. But maybe, just maybe, this part of life isn't about responsibilities at all. Maybe it's about rediscovering the things that make you feel alive, not for anyone else's sake, but for yours. You deserve that. No matter your age, your health, your situation, you still have every right to chase joy, to find peace, and to feel loved. So, let's hold on to that thought and keep moving gently forward. Now, as we continue this conversation, and yes, it is a conversation, even if I'm the one doing most of the talking right now, there's one more thing we absolutely have to touch on, and it might just be the most important piece of all: connection. Not just surface-level, polite chit-chat about the weather connection. I mean real, soul-nourishing connection. The kind that reminds you you're still here, you're still needed, and your stories, wisdom, and laughter still matter to someone. Because the truth is, no matter how independent we pride ourselves on being, we were never meant to live this life alone. And I get it. The older we get, the harder it can be to maintain those connections. Friends move away, family gets busy, loved ones pass on. The people who once made up the landscape of your daily life slowly shift, and it can feel like you've been left behind in a world that no longer remembers you. But here's the thing, there are people out there right now who would be lucky to know you. People who could learn from your stories, your mistakes, your humor. People who need someone exactly like you in their circle. And sometimes it's about being bold enough to reach out first. Maybe it's sending a message to an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, or joining a local club, a workshop, a church group, a library reading circle, or even an online community for folks your age. And if that feels intimidating, start small. Smile at the neighbor, compliment the cashier, ask your grandchild about the strange game they're playing on their phone. Connection can bloom from the simplest, most ordinary moments. And for those days when you feel like no one's reaching out to you, remember this. Your worth is not measured by the number of phone calls you get or visitors who show up. You are valuable simply because you exist, because you carry a lifetime of experiences, both painful and beautiful, and the world is a richer place with you in it. It's okay to miss the past. It's okay to mourn the people you've lost, the roles you no longer play, the places you no longer visit. But it's also okay and necessary to open your heart to the little blessings that still find their way into your life. The unexpected kindness of a stranger, the smell of earth after the rain, the joy of a memory so vivid it makes you laugh out loud. And when those heavy days come, because let's be honest, they will, don't carry them alone. Speak them out loud. To a friend, to a counselor, to a pet, to a notebook. The simple act of giving your feelings a voice is one of the strongest, bravest things you can do. And if you ever catch yourself thinking, it's too late for me to be happy now, I want you to picture a garden. Even the oldest trees still bloom in the spring. Even the most stubborn soil can grow something new when the time is right. And you, my friend, are no different. There's no rule that says happiness belongs to the young, or that new memories can't be made after a certain number of birthdays. You are allowed to feel joy, to learn new things, to have silly adventures, to fall in love with something unexpected, whether it's a new hobby, a new friendship, or a ridiculous TV show you binge watch on a rainy afternoon. So, as we close out this conversation, I want to leave you with this. You matter. Your feelings are valid, and while elder depression is real and far too common, it is not a life sentence. It's a storm you can weather, a weight you can share, and a chapter you can write differently. Take it one day at a time, one small kindness at a time, and never ever believe the lie that your best days are behind you. Some of your best laughs, kindest friendships, and most peaceful mornings might still be ahead. If anything in this video resonated with you, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. You never know who else might be reading and realizing, I'm not alone after all. And if you found comfort here today, consider subscribing to the channel, not because numbers matter, but because it means we get to keep having these conversations together. Until next time, be kind to yourself, pour that extra cup of tea, call that old friend, step outside and feel the sunlight on your face. This life of yours, it's still yours to live. And you, dear soul, are still wonderfully, beautifully, stubbornly here. Here's to living your best life. At any age. Do subscribe to keep the circle growing.